Hi, and welcome back to my review of Giants bobbleheads. Today, let's take a look at the Kruk and Kuip bobblehead one more time. I made a couple changes to mine. I wanted to compare it to the original version. This right here is the original version that came out in 2002. This is my friend Kate's bobblehead. I promised I'd fix it up for her. This is what the original version looked like back in 2002. Everything is pretty much the same, and the only modification is that the sound chip, as I mentioned before, doesn't really sound like them. It's kind of dull, and most of you have a dead sound chip where the battery is just dead. And so here's the original version of what the Kruk and Kuip bobblehead sounds like for those of you who don't have one or your battery is dead and you never heard what it said. So the problem with this is it's a great bobblehead. They look like Kruk and Kuip. They're behind a desk, and for all the other reasons I mentioned in the previous video, it's a really cool bobblehead, and it's totally worth the $300 you'll probably have to pay to get one. Unfortunately, the sound is horrible. It doesn't sound like them, and over time you get really bored of them saying the same phrase over and over and over again without the ability to change it. That and the battery always dies, and you go and do kinds of stuff. And again, that's probably the number one question I get asked on emails. Slideball, how do I get a Kruk and Kuip bobblehead to the battery's dead? How do I change it? So we're going to make a little video to show you how that's done. The other thing I want to do is show you step by step a how-to video of both how to change the battery, and if you want to, stick around, follow along, and you get this. This is my newest modification to my bobblehead, and what it is I found a new sound chip. It comes through this greeting card that I was able to find on eBay. Basically, it pushed the button, and basically it plays multiple phrases every time you push the button. Alright, so the same electronics that are in this little card here, which are pretty easy to manipulate, I was able to manage to squeeze all that inside here. And so I was able to take most of the Giants playoff phrases on all the best plays of the 2010 postseason and stick them all, about 18 of them, onto this chip. And every time you push the button, it plays, and it's through a much larger speaker, and it's pumping out really good high-fidelity sound that sounds exactly like Kruk and Kuip. So you come by, walk through the house, bad day at work, whatever, push the button.
Right-hander for the Giants throws. And that's it! The Giants are world champions as they come pouring out of the dugout.
All right. Alright, so basically every time you push the button you get a fresh clip, a different phrase, and it's of them. I was able to find clips of both Kruk and Kuip talking, doing different things, both talking about the Giants players, offense, on defense, pitching, so the whole thing. It's pretty nice. Everything is able to be squeezed underneath. Here's the sound chip modified underneath, and the great thing about this is once I've bonded on the table onto the platform, I never have to change it because this little sound chip actually runs on a USB cable. So I just take my cable, I slip it in there, I plug this thing next to my laptop, I put the other end into my laptop, and then I add whatever I want to add on there as the season goes along or as time goes by. I never really have to change it, and if I really had to change the batteries, it's pretty relatively easy to do, but I don't have to take it apart to change the sound, which is a nice little feature. So I can just unplug that anytime. All the other electronics are buried inside the table, and if you stick around, I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so first things first though, let's show you how to remove this table. A lot of people, they pay $300 and they're willing to live with a dead sound chip because they can't figure out how to get this table off this thing without either breaking the hands off or breaking the table or breaking the base. So there's a really slick way of doing this, which should be pretty obvious. The fact that the adhesive that holds this table onto this base is nothing more than hot glue. And hot glue is applied with a hot glue gun. Looks like this. Any craft store will have it, and it's a great way of applying adhesive to it. What you should note is that this adhesive, which I'll show you a demo here, you can just apply it onto whatever, comes out in this goopy format, is a very sticky substance, but it has one thing about it that you can exploit to your advantage. It has a very low melting temperature, meaning that if you were able to heat it up, this stuff will naturally debond just by heat, and it has a much lower melting point than the paint that's used on here. So if you just take a hairdryer, you can basically get this thing to pop right off. So where's my hairdryer? Here we go. So here's my hairdryer. Yes, I own an orange and black hairdryer. There's nothing wrong with that. In any case, so what you do is you take your hairdryer, and if you have the extensions like this that is able to focus the heat, you can basically take the heat, put it right up against the base here, and basically if you heat this sucker up, this base should come right off. Okay, so right now it is properly glued on here. I can't get this thing off whatsoever. It's really bonded on there well. So if you, I guess, cover your ears for the next 20 seconds, I'm going to turn this thing on, and you'll, I guess, then we'll get this thing off. Alright, that should do, and basically that's enough to just soften it up so that you should be able to there it is, just snap right off. Just a little bit of heat with a regular household hairdryer, borrow one from your whoever has one in your house, and table should pop completely off clean, leaving you with basically Kruk and Kuip sitting on a green base, table all by itself. You don't have to do any kind of physics or any kind of hard motion. This thing should pop off very gently, very easily. Failing that, get a screwdriver, pry it off a little bit, just get it underneath there, pry it. Things should come clean off. But again, use heat. Take advantage of the fact that this stuff has a much different melting point than the paint. The thing should pop right off. Inside here, for those of you who have never seen the inside of the Kruk and Kuip table, is a very simple sound module. It's connected to this little ball here. It acts as a switch. You push the switch. Alright, so that's where all the sound is coming from. If you look at it all by itself, you can't probably obviously tell where the battery is. It's actually underneath this thing. You should be able to just pop it right off there. When you unpop this thing off the base, you'll notice this thing is basically a very simple box. You take a screwdriver, you open that little hatch open, and inside you will find 4 batteries, I believe. I forgot what kind they are, but I'll have the notes in the video, notes on what to buy to get this thing done. But if you wanted, the first thing to do, if you want to, again, disconnect this thing and turn this version of the Kruk and Kuip into my custom super duper USB version of the Kruk and Kuip, is basically to first remove this part. So, alright, so once you've gotten everything cleaned away here, what you want to do is probably lay out a piece of aluminum foil against whatever platform you're working on just to keep everything clean. I did open it up. I took all the batteries out. There are 3 batteries in here. You probably want to buy these in advance if you are changing the battery. There are 3 of them. It is a size D357H battery. You'll need 3 of them. You can probably find them at any Walgreens or any other part of local hardware store should carry these things. But what I'm going to teach you here is how to undo the electronics if you really want to go crazy and do what I did. Alright, first thing you want to do, nice thing about these soldering iron guns, you can buy these at any electronics store. I think I got this one at Radio Shack. Is it's very hot, and the nice thing about it is all you're trying to do is unsolder things. And unsolder things, all you got to do is touch them. And the nice thing about this is usually, if you notice right there, underneath that button there, it is encapsulated in that white goo, the hot glue that they use to secure everything. It's a very nice adhesive. It's also a great insulator. Nice thing about this soldering gun is that it is extremely high temperature. So when you just touch it, it should just everything melt away upon contact, and you should be able to just isolate and remove. There's one. You melt through. There's two. You want to expose all the contacts, so later on you go back in here, you have access to the parts of the electronics that you want to get access to. You want to just melt away as much of the hot glue as you can to make a nice clean interface. So I cleaned it up. Well, the basics of soldering, if for those who don't do it all the time, is actually pretty simple. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our wire clippers here, and we're just going to snip this right off here because I don't need it. So I'm going to snip that off. The old switch goes away. See ya. And then you take these two wires here and you just expose them. Again, I use my tool. You have wire strippers somewhere around the house. These are mine. They go right in there. They grab onto the clipper. And just like that, I have two exposed leads. These are simple copper wires, and I'm just going to connect them back to the table here. So I put the ball back. Those of you out there, I know a couple of them out there that I've seen where the ball is loose and you really have to push on it. It's loose and it's not quite pushing the button. All you got to do is take that little black switch and fully seat that thing and make sure it's shoved up against the wall as much as possible. And then what you want to do is just make the connection. Just tap them together, solder it on there, and you should be good. So, okay, and so we're back. I was able to successfully solder on the play button and replace it with the old switch that used to be here. And basically all we're trying to do is complete the circuit. We've got electricity coming out to the ball here. You push the button, controls the switch, sends electricity back to the motherboard, goes to the sound chip module, out to the speaker, and it should play when I push this button if I've done my job. Okay, so that's basically electronics here. Alright, and so we're almost done here. So basically, I was able to replace, just chopped off the old speaker. Again, this is a plastic mylar speaker. It has some nice things about it. It's a nice, good size, but metal is always better than plastic, right? And so this hobby speaker I found at this railroad hobby shop, it just provides a much better high quality sound, which is what I want. I want to be able to project this across the room, make it nice and clear, good quality sound, and make it sound like Kruk and Kuip. Alright, so here we go. Oh, the last thing you want to do before you put this thing all together again is to apply some hot glue onto that joint there. Use your hot glue gun. Basically, let me see if I can find mine here. And basically, all you want to do is use your hot glue here, apply a good seal there, and encapsulate that switch so it's held vertically tight against that thing. I've seen a couple bobbleheads where you push and push and push, and this thing just wobbles like crazy and never activates it. It's because that switch that's down here is loose. So you have to go in there, undo all of this hot glue using your soldering gun, just pop it out, clean it out good, pop it right back in there, use your hot glue gun and seal it. And so the next step is to basically tie everything up again. The next step in this phase is basically putting everything together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hot glue gun and join this part right here. The speaker sits nice and out of the way. I want this guy, the motherboard itself, to be sitting at an angle so that the USB joint here is fully exposed so that I can always go back later and plug my port in there. Unfortunately, I have this 45-degree angle here that I need to build a little bit of wedge there so that this thing is able to sit correctly, and I'm going to do what I always do, which is go back to my good old-fashioned, tried and true muddy putty. So hopefully you guys have some of this still around. If not, Walgreens, $8, buy it, use it. You know what to do. It comes in a little tube. You mix it together, and if you mix it together enough, you can build just about anything. So I'm going to go and mix this together, and then we'll build a little ramp, and that's how we're going to mount this guy to sit at that perfect angle. Alright, be right back. Alright, so after the mighty putty is nice and set, I just built a very simple 45-degree ramp of the idea of getting that board on here, and that's how we're going to do it. So the speaker is going to go over here, like so. This board is going to sit right on this ramp, so the USB module, the slot for it, just barely pokes out the side, so Kruk and Kuip's legs can go into the desk as normal, and we're going to just use our hot glue gun and apply that. So speaker goes right here. I'm just going to apply some hot glue right under the side of this speaker. I'm going to push it right on there, and it should stay. A little light touch. Same thing here. I'm just going to apply some hot glue right onto this ramp of Mighty Putty that we just built. Again, doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be functional. And then I'm just going to slowly glide this thing into place. If you're doing this, make sure your wires are long enough so they span all the way across the table. They should be. Should be plenty of room. And basically, that's the ball game, right? So it's pretty simple to do. I kind of went step by step slowly, so you got all the details of it. Basically, that's what I have hiding underneath there. And again, you can program this to say just about anything. And again, you can always just go in there and change that anytime you want, just plugging in to the very simple USB interface that comes with this thing. You just slot that in there, plug this into your computer. I'll actually show you that so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and then it plays whatever you want to play. And again, last thing we're going to do here before we close it off is we're going to glue it on. So that's pretty relatively easy to do. You're just going to again take the hot glue. Actually, I am on the wrong side because I'm right-handed, and this thing is on the left side, which makes filming video a little complicated. So I'm just going to dabble on a whole goop of this stuff off to the side here, so you can't, unfortunately, you can't see what I'm doing. Do it quickly, bring it back over, slip it in place, and it's on there. It's kind of dirty, but I guess we'll clean it up later. In any case, that's the whole build-up from going from the regular Kruk and Kuip to the super custom, super modified, with awesome sound, high fidelity, custom Kruk and Kuip phrases. So as time goes on, as they go on into 2012, 2013, when they win the World Series again, this year, maybe next year, or whatever, you can go in there and change the sound to whatever you want. Let's go and show you what my computer looks like. Okay, so now we have our cord USB plugged back into the module. This part needs to go into a laptop, so let me bring my laptop over. Those of you who don't know, I do have a Giants laptop. This was custom made by Dell. Looks pretty cool. I did a video on it. You guys want to check it out and buy yourself something nice. Keep your mind off how badly the Giants are playing. Buy yourself something nice to entertain yourself. So this is my laptop here. So this USB port plugs into my USB plug here. Let me type in the password here so you don't see what I'm writing. Of course, my password is World Champion Giants. Not really, but in any case, this is my laptop. It is the statue of the Juan Marichal over there. And the software is pretty cool. It's called Sound Loader. You basically grab a bunch of files. God, I don't even know if you can see that. But basically, it's a pretty cool interface. You go in there, you grab a bunch of files, you chuck it on there, and basically, it grabs a whole bunch of files, it opens it, you write it onto the files, it pretty quickly and easily converts everything onto the chip there. And basically everything that you add onto the digital MP3 gets transported off the computer, converted into the USB key here into the sound module, and then next thing you know, this thing is playing everything I just uploaded. So, alright, finally, now that this thing, it actually took about 2 minutes to upload everything. I just forgot that I had loaded so much stuff on here. But basically, I think I have about 15 revolving phrases that every time you push the button it plays something different. That's the whole point of this little toy that I've created. Alright, so it basically goes on and on and on for, I guess, about a while. I think it holds up to 2 minutes of various phrases, so whatever you can find, whatever you can download and convert into an MP3 or WAV file, you can upload it onto that sound module and have Kruk and Kuip say it. Hopefully that has been interesting to you. I found this exercise pretty interesting. I'm very happy with the final result, and it makes this awesome bobblehead that much more awesomer. And it took me about, I'd say probably about half an hour to do all the modifications, and it probably cost me about $30 in parts. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Alright, that's a good way to leave. Okay, thanks for watching. Go Giants. Bye.